You know, I'm having a pretty bad day. I have been editing for about a week, and I just had this problem where my project got corrupted, and I'm frustrated, I'm cranky, and I just want to play some games and just de-stress for a bit. But then it dawned on me that I can share a list of relaxing games that help me de-stress, and maybe, hopefully, it does the same for you. So let's go and check it out. First up is Firewatch. The game follows Henry, who's trying to escape his old life by effectively hiding from his problems by taking on a job as a firewatch in the forests of Wyoming. There's definitely some heavier themes woven throughout the story, but they never get to the point where they wear you down. The world is lush, colorful, and immersive, in part due to the voice actors doing a fantastic job of sucking you into the story. There's some tension that builds in the third act, but it never gets to that over-the-top stress levels tension that you find in some more high-octane games. This is one I'd highly recommend if all you're looking for is to just enjoy a great story, quippy dialogue between two characters, all while exploring a beautiful little area. And speaking of beautiful little areas, we have Kynseed. Brought to you by some of the developers that made the old Fable series before Lionhead went belly up. Its graphics are reminiscent of Stardew Valley, you know, the pixel art style that's been making a comeback lately. And while, yes, initially it does feel a little like Stardew Valley, as you inherit a property, befriend the locals, gather ingredients, and all that jazz. But you'll quickly find that there's a bit more to this game. There is a combat element that requires some practice. You can own your own store, try to sell your produce at a weekly market, haggle, and here's the kicker. If you have children and your main character meets an unfortunate end, you can choose to continue playing as your offspring. And I'd recommend trying this one if you're looking for a balance between relaxing and are still looking for a little challenge. Or alternatively, if you want zero challenge, no tension, unless you have thalassophobia, and just a little go with the flow sort of game, Abzu is the way to go. You are a diver and you swim in the ocean. Aside from having some very light puzzle elements, I honestly still don't quite know what Abzu is even about, or what it is in general. But it's beautiful and peaceful and features simple but amazing visuals. You can explore to your heart's content and enjoy the ride. The lack of challenge or clear storyline might make it so that Abzu isn't for everyone, and that's understandable. But if we're talking stress-free and being immersed in a world that transports us away from daily life for a while, this game is almost impossible to beat. If, however, you're looking for a bit of a challenge, I present to you Kena, Bridge of Spirits. Made by a really small team of only 15 people, it is honestly mind-blowing how they achieved the results they did. I think the studio started as a commercial animation studio that decided to branch into game development, and their experience with composition, storytelling, and hitting emotional beats really shows off their skills. You play as Kena, a spirit guide who guides tortured souls to the afterlife with the help of her many tiny little sidekicks, the Rot. Rot are tiny little creatures that live off of everything rotten and evil infested in the world. That makes them sound a bit more menacing than they are. You can dress them up in tiny little hats. The cutscenes are short and to the point, but hit every note they need to. And the environmental design is truly where Kena shines. Clearly marked healthy and unhealthy areas that need your help being restored, jaw-dropping vistas, imposing dark caves, and a cozy village as the main hub. They're all meticulously designed to give you a sense of place in this world. The combat was honestly a bit more challenging than I had anticipated, but it does give you a sense of accomplishment when defeating enemies. But what if you don't want combat or enemies, but still have a sense of adventure, danger, and mystery? don't let the character design fool you into thinking Beacon Pines is a weird furry game, because I initially did, but boy was I wrong. Beacon Pines is a game about friendship, trauma, family, and strangely the language we use and how it impacts the world around us. There's a sense of danger and mystery in this branching storyline, and you jump back and forth in time. It centers around Luca, who lives in the little town of Beacon Pines.
He said it! He said it!
He and his little friends figure out that there is something nefarious going on in town, but the who, what, and why, that's for you to figure out. See, as you move through the story, you find new words that you can use in the conversations that you have and have had in the past to completely change the course of the story and the outcome of the game. Now, if you don't like reading, I do have some bad news, since it is mostly a text-driven story, but the narration can be slightly annoying, as the developers opted for I don't know how else to describe it, a me approach to voice acting. And I would have preferred full voice acting. But that does, however, not detract from the story in the slightest. It is a fantastic little game that I assure you will keep you playing, wondering what the hell is coming next. Now, if you're still around after all that, I would like you, and I'm sorry for this, to like and subscribe, because it does really help these small channels to grow and provide more content that you enjoy. And if you are one of those people who's still around, I have one bonus for you. It's a game that everyone and their mom has heard of by now, but it's still worth mentioning. It has crafting, gardening, a good story, adventure, and it's a really chill sort of game. So if you already know what I'm talking about, let me know down in the comments below. Now, if you don't, let's check it out. That's right, I'm talking about Palia. It's unfinished, unpolished, a little buggy, but that doesn't take away from your ability to have some fun. You get to build and expand your house. It's a modular system, so you have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want with it. Craft furniture, build friendships with the locals, hunt, gather, fish, and quest. It's said to be an MMO without the RPG, but I'd argue against that. Rather, it's a cozy game with co-op mechanics. There's no combat as of now, but the devs have said that they intend to add an optional light combat system somewhere down the line, if you're into that. There's also some interesting lore to discover and skills to level up to keep you entertained for a while. Having said all that, there has been some backlash for Palia having some paid content, but once again, I have to disagree with that discontent, since it's free to play and none of the paid items are necessary to progress through the game at all. So that's my list of 5 or 6 games. Now the thing is, I want to branch out to doing a little bit more creative stuff in the future, so expect some more crafting and painting and drawing and maybe even some 3D modeling. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you again. Goodbye!